Do you think that's part of why, the question here is, why do Christians and Jews read the same Hebrew scriptures but understand them completely different? Do you think that's one of the reasons, or do you think there's other reasons why?
I don't think we do read the same scriptures. And I think that that is a huge reason why we're not on the same page. Because if you read the Tanakh as it's written, you would not come to the same conclusions that are drawn in the New Testament. For example, when Matthew quotes and says, "Behold, a virgin will conceive," that is not what it says in the Hebrew at all. It says, a young woman is already pregnant. She's going to give birth to a son. And by the time he knows the difference between right and wrong, your dynasty will not fall apart, essentially. I'm paraphrasing. But the word that's used is alma. Alma in Hebrew means young woman of marriageable age. But when it was translated from Hebrew into the Greek parthenos, it can sometimes mean virgin, and then translated into the English, they translated it to virgin. And then when Matthew references it in the New Testament, he's referencing the Greek.
So I wanted to say something to that, because you spoke on the word being Alma in Isaiah 7:14, and it is Alma, and it doesn't mean young woman of marriageable age. And when I read that, I understand that a young woman in ancient Israel of marriageable age would have been a virgin. Isaiah 7:14 is a prophecy to Ahaz. Isaiah is talking to Ahaz, and he's saying, don't be afraid. This alliance that's coming against you, I believe it was Syria and it was northern Israel. They tried to bring him into this alliance, and he didn't want to participate. And so he's like, don't be afraid, ask for a sign. Ahaz says, I ain't gonna ask for a sign. He said, okay, well, the Lord himself is gonna give you a sign. For the virgin shall conceive and bear a son. Alma shall conceive and bear a son. Young woman of marriageable age, as I said at that time, would have been a virgin, because it's not like today where a young woman of marriageable age is probably promiscuous. The culture is completely different. Secondly, when you look at, that being a sign, we all understand that at that time, Israelite women were extremely fertile. A woman having a baby just because she's already married, it would not have been a sign. It wouldn't have been anything significant. And I know that God is a God of miracles. And then lastly, I've heard it said that that child that is being referenced as the sign was Isaiah's son. I'm very familiar with the text of Isaiah. Isaiah had two sons, Shir-Jashib and Mahar-Shalal-Hashbaz. Shir-Jashib, which means a remnant will return. It was a prophetic child. Mahar-Shalal-Hashbaz, which is my favorite name in all of the Bible, means plundered quickly. There's no evidence that he had a child named Emmanuel. There's no evidence that that king had a child named Emmanuel. The logical conclusion when reading this is, yes, it's Alma, but it's a young woman of marriageable age that would have been a virgin, and this child that they're speaking of is Emmanuel, who is the Christ.